Welcome back, everybody. Today we're going to play around some more. So we're going to mix up some Eco-Goldex Super Agent. And to do so we need the quantity of water we require, in which case we need about 2 liters. And we need to bring the pH up, making it base or alkali. And to do so we're going to use lye. This is, just hardware store-bought stuff. It's kind of hard to find. A lot of places don't carry hardware or don't carry lye. It's a little bit caustic and they freak out about it. But for our Eco-Goldex we need to bring the pH up to about 10.5 to 11. So let's see what we've got. Got my electronic pH meter. So this is reading at about 8.1. A little bit base for water, but water's supposed to be 7. But up here in the mountains, this is mountain water. It's not distilled water. So God knows what else is in it. Maybe some frog feed or fish fart or something like that, bringing up the pH a little bit. So we'll spoon in some lye. I don't know how much I'm going to need. So we'll dose it in, mix it up, and see what it does for us. I got this real cool mixer. Got to be careful with these. They spin pretty quick. They will froth up whatever you're mixing, or perhaps spin it out of the beaker. So you want to make sure you get it into the solution before you turn it on, and turn it off before you take it out, or you'll splash all over the place. Okay, let's see what that's done for our pH. Push the on button, it might help. Dip it in the water, give it a little flip around, and make sure you don't have any bubbles sticking on there. And it says it's 11.2. So that brought it up a little bit high, but we haven't mixed in the agent yet, so we don't know what that's going to do. If it brings it up too high, then I'll just add more water, bring the pH back down. So it didn't take much lye at all. Now for our super agent, requires about 5 grams per liter, or excuse me, 50 grams per liter of powder. So at this point I've obviously made an egregious error, and you'll see in just a moment what we get out of it. Pretty much we're going to just gloss over this and call it a day. See, I got this really gray solution. Even after filtering it, really didn't look as good as it should have. We'll push on. Okay, well here we are at our Leach-O-Matic 1000. We've got our pump, got our lower bucket, our receiving bucket, and we've got our ore bucket. It's got the ore in it. That's what we'll be leaching the gold out of, if there is any present. So let's get this back apart. And we'll introduce our leaching agent. It's our Eco-Goldex Super Agent. There's 2 liters. Now this pump has a sensor on it, so once the water goes low enough, it'll turn the pump off so it doesn't run dry. But to keep it in place, I'll put this clamp on it to hold it in the water. Okay. Now I'll take our ore bucket. Well, we've got to put the secondary filter in. This just keeps any large particles from getting into the pump. Then we put our ore bucket in. And we'll smooth out the top of the ore. In our last tests, I found that the water dripping straight out of the tube into the ore below would drill a hole into the ore. So I put this T-fitting on the end, so hopefully it won't impact the dirt so hard and punch a hole in it. Yeah. Move that. Get a little bit of hose here. And we'll get that down as close to the ore as we can so it doesn't splash so much. And then we'll hook our pump up. Give it some power. And there we have it. That's Eco-Goldex going into the top bucket, leaching through the ore, out through the holes in the top bucket, down into the bottom bucket where it is recirculated and pumped back up to go through again. After 3 days, we had this coffee looking stuff, but we pushed ahead. We acidified it, put some zinc in it, heated it up a bit, and dropped absolutely nothing out of it. So it was a waste. There was no gold in it, or I really fucked up. But in the Eco-Goldex instructions, it says that you should have the solution somewhere between 35 and 45 degrees C for optimal operation. So I decided, since we're getting down to about 35 degrees Fahrenheit here, I'd build a heater to warm the solution, kind of a double boiler. So we got some junk together, some old bits and parts, and just whatever was laying around. No, we're not using that as junk. We're not using parts off my tractor yet. Anyhow, we're going to take the top off this propane can and use it as our burner can. Now, if you take these cans and grab them by the bottom and the top and push really hard and give it a little twist, you can take the top right off. See, just like that. Actually, no, I used the angle grinder on it first and cut it off. But anyhow, we'll take the top of that off. Take our angle grinder and go around the inside, because there are a lot of sharp edges in here. And I know I'm going to be handling this can a lot, so I want to make sure I don't rip my fingers up. We're using an old brake rotor as just thermal retention mass, just to hold heat in the system, because we're going to be burning waste oil. And waste oil will cool down and go out if you don't have some thermal mass in there. Next we need to dump the crap out of the can. And with that done, now I can kind of show you what I'm shooting for. We're going to have another tank on the top that will have water in it. We'll heat up the water and then run plastic hoses down through that water to transfer heat into the Eco-Goldex. Here's our flue pipe coming up the middle, which will heat the bottom of the water can. Put some notches on the water can on the top just to hold it in place, make it a little more stable. And this is kind of what we've got. And on the first iteration it didn't quite work so well. We apparently weren't getting enough airflow, so I cut some more air entry holes in the bottom and we added this extension on the top that brought the flue pipe out of the burner area. It was kind of close. So on this one it worked pretty good. You see we got our line coming in from the lower left corner. That's our feed line. We put some oil in it and some kerosene and lit it off and got a lot of smoke. But once it heated up, it came out a lot better. It heated the can on the top. I'd filled it with water. Heated it from 54 degrees up to about 90 degrees Fahrenheit. And I'm sure if I left it there longer it would have gotten hotter, but we only ran it for about an hour. But as you can see, it sure did soot up the can on the top. We'll have to see if we can clear that up a bit. Well, the old mountain goat made it. Just turned 100,000 miles. So hopefully I'll get a few more years out of her. In the meantime, it's starting to get cold up here. Just had some rain pass through, so temperature's starting to drop. And this trailer here kind of gets cold inside, gets down to 45 degrees or so. So we're going to try and install this thing here. It's one of these cheap Chinese diesel heaters that you get off Amazon or eBay. This is 5 kilowatt. That's Chinese kilowatts. It's probably 4 kilowatts in US terms. But we're going to install this and see if we can keep the place warm. So the first thing we need to do is to unpack this. Open it up, and right on top is a fuel tank. It's a 10-liter diesel fuel tank. And the instruction book, which no doubt is written in some form of semi-literate English. Let's see here. This is interesting English terminology or phraseology. This is the original instruction. Please read all manual instructions carefully before operating. Okay, I can understand that. Viva reserves the clear interpretation of our user manual. Well, it's good they reserve the clear interpretation of it, because so far they're starting to lose me. The appearance of the product shall be subject to the product you receive. Huh? So in other words, what you order may not be what you get. That's nice. Please forgive us. We won't inform you of any technologically or software updates on our product. In other words, we're not going to tell you if we make a new, better one. You'll just have to look it up yourself. Jeez. Can't wait to read the rest of it. So inside the box we've got our 10-liter fuel tank, our small burner supply line, our large return line for our heat, a diffuser, a fuel pump, some questionable fuel line, a wiring harness, an exhaust pipe, an adapter plate, little muffler, a bag of clamps and straps and stuff, miscellaneous hardware, and remote control and control panel, and then our heater unit itself. And then of course you have your leftover obligatory packing materials and cardboard boxes. Now this access panel is where there used to be a propane tank. We have our propane tanks on the other side of the trailer right now. But if there's room enough in here, I'd like to mount it in here so it's out of the way, out of sight. Let's take a look. Alright, well, it looks like Halloween in here. There's a lot of spider webs. Some old propane lines. We'll have to move those. We don't want those in the way in case they are pressurized. We don't want them leaking. But, there might be enough room in here. Let me get the box and try and test fit it. Well, it looks like it'll fit. Just need to do some bracketry work in there. Don't have much of a place to run the line to, so I'm going to have to drill some holes. Let me poke around and see where I can route the heat line to. Okay, this is the flip side of the trailer. This is where we got our big propane tank. Now to get in to do any duct work, I got to climb in through this storage area. The access panel on the other side is blocked by the decking that is over there. So I decided to drill the vent line that comes into the space first. So this comes into the bedroom, and that's where the diffuser and the vent line will go out. Then there's the diffuser. Eventually we'll get it connected up to the heater. Now I need to mock up the heater and get an idea of where the line needs to come out and go into the trailer. So I'm just kind of holding it here. Found a good place, drilled the hole. That was not fun drilling a hole from that little crawl space, but you know, got it done. Next on the list is to mount the unit in place. So I've got some bracketry welded in. I've got everything set up and tied together. Well, I don't have the line on yet, but I got all the fuel line connected. And once I got the duct work in, I fired it up. Fancy. It even talks to you. So during its startup process, the fan ramps up, the igniter turns on, and once it's warmed up, the fuel pump starts clicking and you can hear it ignite. Now this thing pulls about 10 amps during ignition. After that it just pulls I think it's 40 milliamps during run, so it very low power usage. For now I just have the fuel line running out the duct or out the door and into this fuel can. It's about 4.5 gallons in that can. Will last me a good week. So it doesn't use a lot of fuel, and it blows out some nice warm air out of this duct. It'll keep my whole trailer, about a 30-foot trailer, it'll keep it 71 degrees on low. So it does a good job, really good job. I was quite surprised. This is the control head. It's kind of hard to maneuver through the controls because the manual is not very good. But all in all, I'm happy with it. It's keeping me warm, hopefully keep me warm during the winter. Well, that's about it. Hope you enjoyed. We'll be getting back into our Eco-Goldex once I get some heat going to it. Other than that, see ya!